I felt compelled to usher this mall to the front of the line because it fits with the Halloween spirit quite well, despite not being decorated accordingly. While this is your first look at my stuff from Minnesota, this, ironically, was my last stop in the state for now. A random offshoot into Marshall to see what the Market Street Mall was all about. And boy, here is a dead mall. It was not easy to put together the timeline behind Market Street Mall, as there isn't a lot of information available. Even accounting for knowing the mall's original name, the Marshall Square Mall, it's still patchy at best. But I have been able to at least cobble something together. And back in 1975, it was confirmed that construction had begun on the $4 million shopping mall in Marshall. The only confirmed anchor at that time was a JCPenney, but it was advertised that the mall would feature additional department stores as well as a supermarket and dress shops. The only opening date I could find for the mall was 1976, with no other date specified. JCPenney would anchor the center of the mall, with the unnamed grocery store to the east side and Woolworth to the west side. The grocery store was speculated to be Red Owl, but I couldn't find a confirmed source for that. Now, while the mall wasn't very big, it certainly carved a niche for itself back in the day, being across the street from the town's university and being the only real retail in the area. The mall also had a number of events, which included arts and craft fairs, antique shows. I even saw one paper advertising a weapons collector's show being hosted at the mall in 1979. I wonder what that was like. While the mall enjoyed its prosperity throughout the 80s, and even saw B. Dalton booksellers in its halls, there was trouble on the horizon in the 90s. Marshall Square Mall was the only real retail in that particular part of Marshall, with a couple of offshoots around it, and on the south side of town, Walmart would open its doors, beginning a true retail corridor for the town. Although it was only Menards and Walmart at the time, this was enough to shake things up and take customers away from Marshall Square Mall, and on top of that, Woolworths and the grocery store were already gone from the mall, leaving just JCPenney, whom would also close shortly after. "1995 would see a change of ownership to a figure named Pelosi, if I'm pronouncing that right, and it was reported then that the mall was half empty. Attempts were made to keep stores inside, with Glick's, a Hy-Vee store, and even a Sears hometown concept occupying the mall in the 2000s and even 2010s. And the beginnings of a business center started as the former JCPenney was filled in with an alternative learning school. However, even those fled the coop. Even calls for demolling the property ended in failure as the mall transformed gradually more into a business center. As of the making of this video, only Maurice's remains as a traditional tenant, with other services as well as a hearing aid center operating on weekdays. If you come here on a Sunday like I did, you would be in for a very surreal sight. I'll be fair and say that there is a little more happening on the weekdays, but technically, yes, only one tenant is open in the mall on weekends. I can't say I've seen a mall quite like this before. I mean, I've seen parts of this mall's mood at other places, but only one tenant open? And the only other guy spending any extended time in this mall being a mall walker? Old world floors that range from good condition to neglected? Some closed up storefronts with the gates up, not down? those same storefronts having a lot of personality to their facades. Now, it is a small mall, but some of these small malls can still surprise you. The whole time I was here, I was wondering if mall staff was going to come out and say something. I was even wondering if the mall walker would say something. But no. For 30 minutes, I was able to get lost in these halls and let my mind wander. And boy, did it go places in here. You have to wonder what is going to come of this mall, and I can't imagine it's going to last much longer. Now, Maurice's has been the last retailer in the mall for years, but a spokesperson for the store did say that it had been performing well, with hopes that it could get new retailers back into the mall. Honestly, I doubt that's going to happen. Marshall itself experiences very little growth. Malls themselves have become stigmatized in the past years, and while small businesses might be an option, I believe downtown is working just fine for them, and even if any did move into the mall, some of you would tear them down for it. You know who you are. I'd say the business center model is the only real solution for keeping this mall intact, and I'm sure when Maurice's finally leaves, that's it for this mall. Nope, I couldn't resist taking a peek in there. Well, with all that in mind, it's time we wind down and head on out from this mall. I know someone else has already been here. You know who you are. You can talk about it if you wish. But when I got confirmation that this mall was still open to some degree, I just couldn't resist seeing it for myself, and I'm glad I went out of the way for it. I want to thank you for joining me in a short tour of the Market Street Mall. Did you have any memories about this place? Can you fill in the gaps about this mall's past? Do share down below. I'd love to hear from you.
Holy crap, that place, man. You know how people will say mood?
Until next time, Marshall, Minnesota. This is Doomie Grunt, wishing you and the Market Street Mall farewell. Oh boy, new camera! Now instead of complaining about me not using a gimbal, you can complain about the footage being in only 30 frames.